Hi, folks. Welcome to the Getting Your Edge podcast. My name is Dennis.
And hi, I'm Judy Gratton.
And we're here to help you right-size your home and your life. And good day, everyone. This is episode 10 of Getting Your Edge, How to Right-Size Your Home and Life podcast, brought to you by the fabulous Edge Group team, where we give you an edge in all your real estate needs. We have a great and unique, interesting guest today for our show. Our previous episodes have been pretty heavy discussion topics like Medicare, wills, financial planning. I'm really looking forward to this guest today. I'm your host, Dennis Day, and my co-host is Judy Gratton.
Hi, Dennis. Thank you so much. I am really looking forward to today's episode. I mean, who doesn't love an estate sale except for maybe the people who are actually trying to run one? And if you're one of those people who are thinking about having an estate sale, our guest today, Joe Aboubakr, is going to be able to give you all kinds of information about how to do that. And he even does that for you. So we're really looking forward to Joe being with us today. Welcome, Joe.
I'm so excited to be here.
Before we get onto our interview, we have to do the business stuff. We want to remind you that our podcast is free of commercials and no subscription fees. So I'm asking you to please send us some feedback through Apple Podcasts, where you can write a review, subscribe and follow us, give us a rating on Spotify or another directory, share this podcast with someone who could use this information, and this would really help us grow our audience.
It's so nice to have you here, Joe. We really appreciate you taking the time to be with us. Give us a little bit of information about just exactly who you are and what your business offers people with regard to estate sales.
Okay, thank you so much for asking. I am the owner of Honest Estate Sales. What we do is we do estate sales for people inside the home. Some people are downsizing. Some people have moved on to, a better place in this celestial world. And so we're helping out. Maybe it be the children. It might be a sibling, people that we help out to move on and make sure that those items that they're trying to sell get moved on to someone who's going to appreciate it just as much as the person that used to own them.
Wonderful. Well, the Edge Group team we are focusing our business on helping people who are in need of right-sizing their lives, meaning their home isn't working for them anymore and they need a change, and they have a lot of stuff normally. I speak from experience, my own. And can you help these people even just to get them moving into something smaller, or maybe even a manufactured home or an RV? Have you dealt with anything like that?
I deal with downsizing all the time. And what people are doing back in the day, let's just say the World War IIers, they lived in their house and they were going to live in that house until they died. That was it. That was the house they were going to live in. But this modern generation of retirees are downsizing. They want to go live a better life in a place they dreamed about. They may want to sell their home and go to Mexico. They may want to sell their home and go to Portugal. I get so many clients that are moving on, not moving on, let's say dying, but moving on with living another dream. And they need to sell their home to do so. Well, that's when you bring us in, and we can help you do that, whether it be some people, let's say you're moving overseas and you're saying nothing, we can't take much with us. We're moving overseas and we're going to buy whatever's over there. And I understand that. We sell that. If you are, saying, hey, we're going to load up a pod. We're going to fill a pod with stuff, and then we're going to go to Arizona. And the rest of this is stuff we need to sell. We, of course, also do that. And that is, these are things that, of course, it's a bottom line for everybody. So it's a bottom line for my clients. It's a bottom line for me, and it has to make sense. But we do whatever we can to assist people in the next step of their life.
Wonderful.
Joe, what's the difference between an estate sale and a garage sale?
Well, first off, I guess it's in a garage. And we're usually in the entire home. And so, the first definition difference is estate, entire home. Garage is simply in the garage. Secondly, I would say is you're selling quite a bit more than an estate sale. When I grew up, we had garage sales every summer, and we'd sell what we didn't want. My mom, my dad, and us, we'd put everything out there. But what you're doing in an estate sale is you are either downsizing. Sometimes someone has passed on, and we're doing the sale for that person. So, an estate sale usually tells people it's going to be a lot more stuff, whether it's quality, whether it's not quality, just a lot more items to look at. And especially when it comes to furniture, things like that.
So what about, I've run into situations where people have things like china that the younger generation doesn't seem to want to collect grandma's china anymore. Mm-hmm. Or another good example, I had someone ask me, what do I do with my stamp collection? Can you help people find solutions for unique items, doll collections, tools? I'm just thinking of different things that I've run into in the course of selling real estate where the most recent one was, in trying to just discuss the move, all this person could think about was the stamp collection. And I have no idea what you do with the stamp collection.
Yeah. Things, collectibles have ebb and flow, just like life, just like everything else. And sometimes things are popular. Sometimes items are not popular. People always ask me and they say, and I'm going to give you guys some info that I don't give many people. People always say, Joe, what would you invest in? What are the two things when it comes to collectibles, antiques, anything? What would you invest in? And honestly, I can tell you there's two things I would truly invest in. One, gold. Why? The earth doesn't create gold. And when I get jewelry, when I get anything that is of gold, it is highly desirable. And I tell people, you know what? Gold's a good investment. Second, and now I'm not and I know I have to say this for online reasons, I am not an advisor of investments, and I'm not telling you what to do. So I'm not that. This is just my opinion. It is my personal opinion. And I tell people, the other thing I tell people is toys generationally, but male toys, not female toys, because men will spend so much money for their toys when it comes to once the kids are out of the house, once everything settles, they will spend crazy money in that. And those are
of when you're talking about men's toys. Are you talking about real toys, or are you talking about like adult toys?
Well, I mean, I guess adult toys in a way of vehicles, yes. But when I'm talking about toys, I'm talking about children's toys. And the irony, for instance, when I started doing this 16 years ago, pressed steel toys, those pressed Buddy L car toys and everything, right? They were getting top dollar. But not anymore. I have a hard time selling them. And why is that? Because you have to go generational with that investment. It's all about men when they hit their 50s and 60s. And then they're going to start buying their toys back. And these guys will spend crazy money on what they wanted. So right now, what is it? G.I. Joe's 12-inch figures. Oh, yeah, those are desirable. 70s, Star Wars is starting to come up. The original Star Wars. I mean, but investments and collectibles. I mean, there is a lot of money in people's homes, and they don't realize that when we're talking about estate sales. And everything changes, everything evolves, just like real estate.
So what would you do? Can you kind of give an example of what you're coming in, you're going to help these people. So this is a lot to ask, but from start to finish, what's your flow to get things completed for people?
Well, what I try to do first off, I guess, for the flow is, I have a consultation that is completely free. I meet with the person. I look at what they're selling. I see if it's fiscally savvy for them and myself and my company. Then after that, what we do is we come in about 2 weeks prior to the estate sale. I bring multiple employees with me. and we set up the house kind of like a miniature store. And we actually shift the furniture around. We do everything we can to create good flow, because we have roughly about 1,000 to 2,000 people that come through our homes every weekend.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And we have to create it where humans can move freely. However, sometimes in the 1950s and 60s, those hallways get a little tight.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we have to respect each other as we walk through those hallways. And so do other people. But we try to set the house up like a miniature store. And then we sell everything. We actually put a price tag on almost everything. We have a pricing day, and that's usually a week after we set up, because I'm doing my research on my antiques, my collectibles, seeing what things might be valued at in the current market. And then we price it all. Then we conduct a 2-day sale.
Like clothing, shoes, do those things go into an estate sale? Or
see, where a lot of people make the biggest mistake is getting rid of clothing. There's a reason Nordstrom's is opening up a vintage clothing market.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, they are. There's a reason, because currently vintage clothes, and when I talk about vintage, most people may say, oh, 50s, 60s. No, I'm talking about 80s and 90s. I know that makes us all feel very old. I get it. But the point is this is what these youngsters consider vintage and what they're buying. And a lot of people get rid of these clothes. They donate them. And and to me, I'm like, that's thousands of dollars you just let go.
Now, I've heard things like photographs and letters and even old cards that people might use in crafts. Do you run into that?
Well, yes. Halloween cards are the most desirable, obviously. And so if you have old Halloween cards, people love that. Old Halloween anything people love. With photographs, tin types, we do very well. We do try to respect the family. And if the family wants to keep those mementos, we will try to set them aside for them, because we want to respect history. And I want you to know your past. I want you to know your history. I don't want to sell it if you don't want me to sell it. Mm-hmm. So we do the best we can to make sure what the family wants to keep. And if we find those things, we're going to stick them in the personal closet. And that's what we call it, and it's a closet we give to the family, and we try to put those personal items in there. But if they want to sell them, yes, they are desirable. People love to see the way the old people lived, the way they lived back in the 50s, 60s, 40s, 30s, and people will pay for that. Mm-hmm. And some families do want to sell them, just, for what reasons, I do not know, but they do want to sell them.
Now, are the people living in their homes while you're doing this, or have they already gone, or do they just leave for a weekend or something? What is that?
It varies. It really varies by situation. And I play every situation for what it is. Normally, obviously if someone has passed, they're gone and we're doing the house. But if someone is downsizing, it's easier, obviously, when they've just said, okay, we've taken everything out of the home we want. Joe, do what you got to do. Because I don't want to sell anything that they wanted to keep. I don't want to sell anything that they cherish. Now, of course, like I said before, there's a bottom line for both parties. And, I don't just take estate sales that would not make as much money as a garage sale. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people are willing to separate from items, as am I, as maybe you guys are, where you can say, there's other items I will desire. There's other items I can buy. We like those sales.
Wow. So you've had your estate sale. You said they're on weekends normally?
Yeah. Well, no, Friday, Saturday.
Friday, Saturday.
Yeah. And the reason is Fridays are the resellers, and they're the ones that are working swap meets. They're working their antique malls. And when are they working those days? Saturday, Sunday. But they shop Fridays. And then, then we do sales on Saturdays. I usually avoid Sundays for multiple reasons. I am a family man. I do need one day with my family. I have 3 little girls. So I want to spend those times with them. So I do designate that day. But but we do Friday, Saturday, and it works very well.
And
Wow.
how do you advertise this estate sale?
I advertise. I have a small company out of Stillicum, Washington. I used to be the president of the Chamber of Commerce, actually, out of Stillicum. Being one of my close friends who has an advertising agency, I met a long time ago. He represents me, and he does all my advertising through Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Craigslist. I do estatesales.net. He does estatesales.com, and then I do my website. Pretty much online, I guess.
You still put out the signs?
Yes. We do put out the signs, and we still have all the signs out for the local neighbors, for anyone who, wants to follow us in navigation and make sure that they're going in the right direction. We have these big yellow signs, and they say just estate sale with a red arrow.
Is there an estate sale season?
You know what's funny is people always assume that the summer is the best time to have an estate sale. Ironically, it is not. My best estate sales are in the fall, the winter, and the early spring.
Really? Wow.
And the reason is it's about competition, just like anything else. When you guys have 30 other houses on the same block for sale, you've got competition.
Mm-hmm.
When I am in the summer, I'm dealing with community garage sales. I'm dealing with everyone out there trying to sell everything they've got. And what you guys may or may not understand is my clientele, who my shoppers are, this is a clucking for them. This is a retirement. They do this on Fridays because they're retired and they got nothing better to do. And then also the resellers, but it's a community that comes to my sales. Those, when I am the belle of the ball, are my best sales. When I can be the one and only. When everyone who's on estatesales.net, which I was actually a speaker at their national convention right before COVID, great company. I advertise on them. But when I'm on there, when I'm on my website, the most times that people come to my greatest sales are not in the summer. It's in the fall, the winter, and the spring when nobody else is willing to dance. And all callers have to dance with me.
Like that. I like that a lot. How do you determine the value of the items that you're selling? Do you have just from experience, or do you have sources that you can go to and figure out?
Well, I'm a certified appraiser of antiques and collectibles.
Okay.
But also when you're pricing things, you have to take in so many accounts. I mean, very similar to real estate, but where's my location? I'm a realist here, guys. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Where am I selling stuff? Mm-hmm. Is it in Gig Harbor? Is it in Spanaway? I mean, there's a big difference. And, you have to look at also the quality of item. Is it quantity over quality? Sometimes I'll take sales, and yes, the children will say, my mom was a hoarder, my dad was a hoarder. Well, that's a quantity sale normally.
We sold a house once where they discovered the car in the garage, the collectible car in the garage. They didn't know it was there when we started.
Yeah, and I believe that. Mm-hmm. And and so it's a quality over quantity. Sometimes it's a quality over quantity, mm-hmm. where you're just like, this is really nice stuff, and I know it's going to sell. And so the coolest thing about my job is I get to see how people live and how different they live, but how similar they live. We all need toilet paper. we all need Advil, right? Yeah. We all need certain things, and also you have to take into account when you get antiques, collectibles, regional. Like, is this something that is worth it in the Northwest? Is it going to sell for more money in the Northeast? I mean, I have sometimes put items to auction that I think will sell better in other regions of this country or the world.
Wow.
Interesting.
Wow. I had no idea.
Yeah. And you have to assess all of this, when you're doing what I'm doing, and you have to dig and you have to find that nectar.
But not everything sells. What happens to the stuff that does sell?
Well, I work with companies that we don't try to throw anything away. We don't want to throw anything away. So I'm not sure if any of your viewers, some maybe, are familiar with gleaners out of the Bible. We have gleaners. So I have a company that comes in and they will take everything out that I cannot sell. And what they do is they try to bulk auction sell it. So we still try to sell the item. And they do the clean out for my clients at a very reasonable cost because that's what they're trying to do with the stuff that we could not sell. Because most of my clients do want to know, what am I going to do with the stuff afterwards? How am I going to get rid of everything? You sell 60%, there's still 40% here. You still 70%, there's still 30% here. Well, I work with my clients on getting that stuff out of the house at a very reasonable cost, and it comes out of your net proceeds when you do an estate sale with me.
Ah, okay. Are there any other services that you provide besides just the estate sale, like maybe helping them pack up the items that they want to take with them? Or can you do like a complete move where you could then unpack them in their new house, anything like that? Or you mentioned the complete clean out, and that would include cleaning the house and having it ready then to sell?
Well, the clean out company, for the cost that they do, they just will remove the items out of the home. And honestly, for me to be able to do an estate sale every week, which is what I do, I have to stick my company strictly to estate sales. Okay. So we don't do moving. We don't do packing. We ask that the clients pretty much have all of that done before we come in.
Okay. Very good.
And, and it's because we're a finely tuned engine. We do one every week, and we just come in, we take care of our clients. We sell the heck. I'm going to say heck because I'm not going to curse online. And we sell the heck out of everything we can do. And we do the best we can. I only do one sale a weekend because I want to be there. I do feel that I am the greatest salesman in estate sales around probably the whole country, maybe the Northwest. So I need to be there selling the stuff with my crew. And that's what we do.
Let's get down to the nitty gritty, Joe.
Yes.
And you've touched on this a little bit about some of the things that do sell. But what are the items that always really sell well, and what things never sell at an estate sale?
It's almost like owning a dog. It's not about the dog, it's about the owner. And I always say that you challenge me to sell it, I'm going to do my best to sell it. But what doesn't sell, what does sell, I think it really comes down to the company that's selling the item. I mean, you guys do real estate. You deal with people, and you know what? I bet you're better than a lot of people when it comes to how you sell your item. And that's what I do. I sell a good item, and it's about advertising that item, and it's about getting that item sold. Yes, sometimes I don't sell an item, and the next week I sell it. I'm like, I don't get it. I didn't sell it, or I did sell it. What doesn't sell? I personally don't believe that anything doesn't sell because I believe I can sell everything. And that's just maybe my instinct and who I am. Is it harder to sell certain items? Sure, because of Home Goods and TJ Maxx and Ross. Yes, kitchenware is a little more difficult to sell nowadays because you can get it at such a cheap discount at those stores. I do find that a little more difficult to sell. Furniture to me is one of the other things that depends on the furniture. It really does. And I can sell some furniture. I can't sell some furniture. It's funny, when my wife and I we were going to buy a new mattress at the mattress store. And I walk in and I'm looking at the prices. I'm talking to them. And the guy goes, "Oh, there's no market in secondhand mattresses." And I was like, "Wait, what did you just say?" And I was like, "You're probably talking to the wrong guy, man, because I've sold hundreds of secondhand mattresses." Now, of course, that comes down to how new is the mattress? What's the quality? Is it, you try to buy one of those Sleep Numbers new. How much is a Sleep Number brand new? Yeah. I sell Sleep Numbers used for hundreds.
Wow.
people buy my mattresses, but it depends on the mattress. So when it comes to what's difficult and what's easy to sell, and at the same time, 10 years ago, I couldn't sell Hummels. Now people line up for Hummels. What's going on with Hummels, people? That's my question. I don't know. But the thing is everything has an ebb and flow. I would like to sell, think I can sell everything. Once I sold a petrified cat out of a garage.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, guy, $10. Happy as a kid.
Taxidermy petrified, not just.
No. He found it in the corner of a garage. It'd probably been there for 50 years. He paid $10 and walked out happy as a clam.
Oh my gosh.
So you never know what people want to buy. And I always tell people, we all know the saying, one man's treasure, one man's garbage, another man's treasure, but let me determine what I can sell and what I can't sell. I mean, I go to consultations all the time and I start dumpster diving at the house and I'm looking at them going, I can sell this. I can sell this. And I literally dive in dumpsters telling them what I can sell. I've pulled a 1908 Martin guitar out of a dumpster.
Oh my husband just died.
And it was only because it had a crack in the case. She thought it was worth nothing. She threw it in the garbage. 1908 Martin. I pulled it out. It's like, no. This is still worth $1,000 or more, even with a crack in it.
Yep.
So people, I always tell my clients, I advise all of your clients who are watching this right now, do not throw anything away except for expired food and prescription drugs, because you don't know what people will buy. And leave that up to me, because every dollar counts.
Well, speaking of every dollar counts, at the end of the sale, or how do you make your living with the homeowner and the proceeds and expenses and whatever? How does that look?
So how that looks is I work on a straight commission basis. I work on a commission very much like real estate agents do. And I assess what that percentage would be during my free consultation. So what I do is I need to come out, I need to look at the items, I need to see what I would be selling, what I will be dealing with, what's the family going to be taking. I need to know that. I do not have any minimums. I do not ask for any money up front. I just work on a straight commission cut. And I find that is fair for me and the client, because the more money I can make, the more money we both make.
That's wonderful, Joe. I've run into situations that are not quite that fair. So that's really fantastic.
Well, I consider myself a good salesman, and we work on how to sell items. In my industry, it's about setup. It's about making a product look beautiful, but then it's also about selling the product that you made look beautiful. And so I make my storefront, I make it look beautiful, and then I have to sell the beauty that I photographed. And that's on me, and believe I can do that.
You've collected the money. The estate sale is over. What should they expect?
Well, I told you we do the clean out. If they want to clean out, I have a company I work with that does that clean out. And then, what they receive from me, and usually it's about 7 to 10 business days, is a cashier's check with a receipt. They need to know this. I do estate sales every week. It is impossible for me to itemize every spoon, every fork, every cup that I sold. Sometimes people are like, are you going to itemize it? And I say there's thousands of items in this estate sale. Now, of course, high-end items that are of value that the family wants to know what I sold it for, I have no problem telling them that. And we can talk about what we're asking. And we actually sometimes, especially with vehicles, high-end art, things like that, we can set minimums where we talk about the value and we say, this is the bottom line. We're not going to go half price at noon. We're going to sell it for what the family feels comfortable with. So, that does also take place. But usually my payouts and invoice happen 7 to 10 business days afterwards. The cashier's check from Wells Fargo, and I require signature confirmation, and you're good to go.
Do you run into situations where maybe that the sellers weren't aware something was of great value, like the guitar in the dumpster, and you say, no, this has more value than you think? Do you let them know
Usually during consultations, I let people know, like if I see something I think is of good value. What we, though, obviously make our money on is selling items of value. I mean, if I sold $1,001 items, we're only making $2,000.
Right.
And
but
so,
if you walk into a house and there's a painting hanging on the wall that grandma bought.
Oh, then that's going to go to a high-end auction house.
Okay.
Oh.
So if you knew that it was more valuable, then they did not have any value at all, let's say.
Yes. So what I would normally do with this is I would call them and I would say, my advice is we send it to a high-end auction house.
Okay.
And I have connections with those auction houses. Okay. And so if of something of that high a value, yes, I would say my advice is we send it to auction. And then I, of course, speak to the family and get their approval of it. And then we send it to auction. And that may take months instead of days, obviously, get paid out. But, it is what it is. But I believe they'll make more money.
Are there any big misconceptions that your clients are not aware of or don't understand about running an estate sale?
Yes. One of them actually leads back to the last question. Living in Seattle, we have people with money. And, there's many times that I ask the auction house, should I send this auction? And they say, you'll make just as much money at your estate sale. We can actually sell high-end items and get good money. I've sold a $60,000 Corvette, but the guy came up cash, stapled, ironically, in $1,000 bills. But it's one of those things that a lot of people think, an estate sale, it's a garage sale. It's a glamified garage sale. And it's just low-end items, and everyone who attends an estate sale isn't going to buy anything of value. And that is a misconception. We have people that come to our sales, like I said, with a lot of money, and they're willing to spend a lot of money.
Wow. Let's say we have someone who's listening who isn't ready to move yet, but they want to start downsizing. They want to start getting rid of stuff. Hand right here. Any advice, how to start doing something, or that just not?
Well, the toughest part about the downsizing trickle that you're talking about is just trickling your stuff out is it's really up to you and how you want to sell it. If you have high-end items, things that are worth of, let's say, over $1,000, hypothetically, right? There are auction houses in the area that will take your item. However, you're gambling with the auction. If you want to list things yourself online, well, then you have to meet with people. You have to do all of that. And those are the other options for you. What we do and what people like is we cut all that out. You don't have to deal with it. You don't have to be the middle person. You just have to let us sell it, and we'll deal with whomever wants to buy the item. And sometimes it's easy. Sometimes it's not so easy.
So would you recommend to people, and I literally, like me, to not do that, to just not start thinning out what you own, but wait until you are going to make the move and then have the estate sale and let you deal with, because here's what's killing me. You just talked about vintage clothes, and although you did say 50s and 60s, but I had cocktail dresses that my mother had in the 60s that I gave.
Oh yeah, and those are high value.
Yeah, I gave them to a theater group for my niece in high school because I had no idea what to do with them, and they were amazing. And now you're telling me they have value, because I would have thought, no, in my garage sales, when I've hung up clothes, I can't do garage sales anymore. They drive me crazy. I mean, would you suggest just don't do anything, wait, and then have you come in and do the estate sale with the things that we really don't want anymore?
In a way, yes, because I haven't seen many items in history severely go down in price if they are of quality. The thing about the eras, you have to look at generational. Starting in the 70s is when China started making its move. Even furniture companies in the 70s started going to pot, using particle board and plywood and all this other stuff that when they used to use natural wood. We have to look at eras, generational, and where quality truly took place. quality of certain items. Clothing is different than furniture. Art is different than, let's say, porcelain. So, it's all about what you own, what you have. Is it something that the future generations will desire? And you say, well, how would we know that, right? How would we know what the future generations are going to desire? Well, I mean, it is none of us can see the future. None of us would thought any clothes from the 1980s would be popular. I didn't. I didn't think any of the 80s would be popular. So it's like I didn't see that. I did not see. I thought the 80s was basically the fart of the 70s, and it was just an aftermath. And the 90s is when everything took place. But it's funny. But you do never know. But I would just say is saving things. As long as you're not hoarding things. I mean, I've seen these hoarder houses. I have seen people that want to save everything from bottled water to be smart with what you unload, because I think a lot of people be surprised at the value of vintage items. And it's because of the quality that they were made of. And right now, these youngsters, what is it? Generation... What are they called?
I've lost track here.
Yeah, I've lost track too. But they want, they're almost minimalists that want quality, which I can respect. Mm-hmm. Like they're like, we don't want 10 jackets. We want 2 jackets made in America that are made of high grain, whatever. And that's what we're good with. And you're like, all right, I can respect that. Like I see that, and so they are definitely not hoarders. And this is why I think a lot of parents are having issues, because they're like, my kids don't want any of it. That's and true. It's like, because they are a totally different generation. Mm-hmm. And it's almost the backlash of the hoarder. Mm-hmm. It's like watches. They're backlashing on Apple watches. No one's going to tell us what to wear. We're going to wear vintage automatic watches. Really? Yeah, because no one's going to tell us that we have to have an Apple Watch. Oh. And you're just like, okay, so you guys now are getting back into automatic and vintage because they're better made. It takes a year to make them. They're quality. They'll run for, so it's one of those things that this generation, I actually really like this upcoming generation because of this. But, so a lot of people are having an issue unloading their goods because their kids don't want them. And their grandkids don't want them, especially grandkids. Those are the minimalists.
Wow, fascinating.
But luckily, I still have enough retirees to come to my sales. I can sell the stuff. So I don't mind it.
All right. If our listeners wanted to do an estate sale, Joe, how would they find you?
Well, you can call me my personal phone number. I'm joking. Don't do that. You can see my website. It's honestestatesales.com. And make sure it's honestestatesales.com. Or you can call our business line at 253-273-1157. And that's my business line. And I do free consultations. I take a look at what you got. I will never tell anyone that you have garbage or nothing that's worth anything. And if I can't do it or I cannot help you, I will always try my best to give you referrals to people that can help you.
Oh, wow. Well, Joe, I thank you so much for being here today. We will put your contact information with the episode description and the transcript in the podcast. I have to tell you, I have learned a tremendous amount from you that I didn't know.
Thank you.
I've dealt with a lot of homes that have done estate sales, and I think you're going to be the person I recommend from now on. How much lead time do they need to be able to book you? If you're weekend?
That is an excellent question. Everything is my whole business is ebb and flow. Usually in the spring, I'm about 8 weeks out. Mm-hmm. So if you call me in the spring and you want a sale, because everyone wants to list their house in the spring, so everyone wants to do an estate sale right before they list their homes, it's about 8 weeks out. My advice to clients or anyone listening to this is do it in January, February, or March. Get it ready. But they think, and a lot of people assume, they can do it in a couple weeks and we're done and get the house on the market. And unfortunately, that is not the realism of the industry. So it is about 8 weeks during the spring. During the summer, it's usually about 6 weeks. And in the fall, winter, it's about a month out.
Plan ahead.
Yes.
And that is the best, because the one thing that I hate the most is going and doing a consult for an awesome estate sale and they need it done in like 3 weeks. I will bend over backwards to help you, but I probably can't. And that's what kills me, because I'll just be like, I wish you would have called me earlier and we could have got it done right. I will do my job right. I'm not going to try to, I don't care for companies that advertise only days ahead or people that don't display the items properly. You have to know, you have to let everyone know what's for sale, because you never know, like a petrified cat, what people want, right?
Right.
And you never know what people want. And so that is something, yeah, but it's on other people's. So that's the point, is I want to do it right. And that, just like I'm sure you guys want to sell homes in the proper way, I want to do an estate sale in the proper way. And I want to make sure that we all are happy at the end and everybody's pleased.
Wow. I'm impressed. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I can give a personal reference to you, Joe. You helped me with an estate sale about 1.5 years ago.
Yes.
Where the family had, the father had passed away. Oh God, she had all kinds of military equipment and etc. So Joe does a great job. Highly recommend him. Do you come farther north than Pierce County?
Yes. I think I'm going to have to. And the reason is I live in Federal Way, so I do live in King County. But also I'm hearing a lot of rumors about northern companies going online only. I don't believe in that necessarily. And so I've had a lot of clients from the north call me, because there's something, and I'll tell you this real quick, the reason I do estate sales isn't just to sell you used items. I love the personability. I loved when we could remove masks and seeing old couples finding something that they hadn't found in years and giving each other a kiss out of joy. I loved being with people and amongst people. And so I will continue to run estate sales the way I do it. A lot of companies want to go online. They want to get this impersonal business mentality. I still run a great business, but I'm not going to forget the people, and I'm not going to forget the experience. And to me, this is an experience. When we have sometimes 3-day sales and people are sitting in grassy fields and someone's playing music, and I'm like, we just became an event. And I love that about what I do. And so I am willing to go north. If these companies in the north are starting to go online and you want to host an event, then yes, I will. And it's really, to me, it's all about the bottom line. I've done Snohomish sales where I've Airbnb'd houses for my whole crew just to run a sale in Snohomish. So we'll go wherever we need to go. More and more companies want to go online. They can do that. But I love the personal, the moment, the event of it all. And I'm going to stay true to that.
Well, I am so happy that you are going to stay true to that, because I think you're looking to that.
Well, yeah, there's just a difference between sitting in a sofa or holding an item versus looking at a picture.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm still hoping that I'm going to run across that long lost Picasso, and make my fortune.
Yeah, I know, that Stradivarius. You want that Stradivarius violin that's just going to
I don't know, that 1908, what was it, a Martin? My husband would have died for that. Absolutely.
In the dumpster. And I remember, and I pulled it out. I jumped in there and I pulled it out and I go, what's going on? It's cracked. And I was like, that does not matter. Yeah. I was like, the fact that there's a crack in it does not matter.
Well, Joe, thank you. Thank you so much. This has been fun and very informative. Thank you for coming. We're going to put your information on the transcript and the, description and so forth. And we'll be putting this up on our YouTube channel as well. And that's it for episode 10. The Edge Group team is Getting Your Edge, How to Right Size Your Home and Life podcast and our YouTube cast. As always, we'll have a freebie packed with information about estate sales and Joe and his honest estate sales on our website. Just a quick link, go to our homepage. please, you can send us comments, suggestions, or a review directly through our email at answers@edgegrouprealestateservices.com. We'd love to hear from you. And please follow, like, share, comment on this or any previous podcasts. Thanks for watching and listening. Happy trails, everyone. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. Go Cougs in the tournament.
That's it, folks. Thanks for listening. And stay tuned for future episodes wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks. Goodbye.